Okay, next is the formal letter pre-writing activity. Pre-writing means I show you the steps and expectations and the process so that way then you can do it without the excuse of, I don't know how to do that. Well, I'm guiding you, I'm showing you the steps. I don't expect you to know all of this. I expect you to be able to follow the steps and or reach out of your comfort zone and figure some of this stuff out. That's part of the process. So here we go. The direction is to go to your career guidance folder and or your Google Docs and create a letter. The direction is to use letter spearmint template. So you go to the template gallery if it doesn't show up here, and you find the letter template spearmint. The next direction is to title it with your name, first and last, and formal letter. Notice this is a title, and I capitalized each letter, each first letter in the title. The next thing to do is to save it. Make sure it's saved into your career guidance folder. Move it there. The following step is to start filling it out with your information and my information. You are addressing this letter to Niels Wright and the school address. The email address that you should put here is your new professional email address, your Gmail. If you do not have that yet, don't forget to come back and fix it before you submit the assignment. Okay, now the next step is looking at the template and why it is the way it is. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you take out and or change the things that are not accurate. If it still says Ronnie Reader and Dear Miss Reader, then you are not addressing me. You are not writing the letter to me. You're writing it to the reader. Notice that this is in Latin. That is so that way you see the difference between what you have written and what they have written as part of the template. So you need to start going through and changing these things and writing your own information in here. If you cannot use Grammarly to correct, so this is Grammarly. Grammarly should be automatically active and doing this. If you cannot do that, there are other tools. I suggest that you start getting used to practicing looking at these things, figuring out how you use them, because it will be important as you use Google Docs in the future. Then one of the main tools that you are going to want to use is Grammarly. If you cannot use Grammarly because the extension won't load or what have you, use the spelling and grammar check in here. What is meant by that is if it is got a squiggly underline or a red underline or something like that, then it's probably wrong or it needs your attention. So make sure you fix all of that. Before you start editing this, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, is you want to share, and you want to share it to Niels Wright at nwright at mjusd.k12.ca.us. You want to share it with me prior to starting, A, so that way you make sure it's shared correctly, and B, so that way I can help you in the process if you run into a question. Okay, I think that is it. I'm going to pause and see if I missed anything. Okay, so let's assume that you wrote your letter and Grammarly is not working for you as a Google Chrome extension, which you want to install it as an extension if you can. If it does not work as an extension, you can copy the content. You can go to Grammarly and sign in. You sign in with your Google account, create a new document. Sorry if that was fast. Create a new document, and then you're going to paste in the information. So it's saying it looks good. That's outstanding. If it was not good, if it had maybe a lowercase l, a mess up, things like that, it's going to correct it as we go. This is not being a very good example right now. So it's saying no issues found. Great. It's hard to use in an example if no issues are found, right? So that's not a very good example. I don't know how to correct that, but let's okay. In order to provide an example, what I did was copy the instructions, and then I'm showing you that Grammarly, if you paste it in, it will help correct your mistakes. So where there's an underline in red, it's going to show you possible suggestions. So you just click on and make those changes. Google, change capitalization. I, lowercase I right here. Make sure you capitalize I's where they belong. Account, correct spelling. Notice this is saying end. Click to remove a space. It appears that you have improperly spaced some punctuation. You should not have a space after the last word before the punctuation. So go through and fix those things. This is suggesting that I need to add a comma here. Okay. And then it shows you that there are additional issues, but you may have to pay for the premium. I'm not expecting that, but punctuation in compound complex sentences. So it's telling me that I may be missing some punctuation in some of these sections. Okay. So you can go back and make those changes as necessary. I may not correct it word for word, letter for letter, but if I drop it in here and there's a whole lot of red marks, you bet that you should have been able to correct it. Okay, so now that you've got your letter all correct and it is in the correct format, it makes sense, you are writing a formal letter. That means the words that you use need to be formal language, not friendly, not overly informal, which means you don't use slang and you don't use words like gonna or cuz or things like that. And when in doubt, spell it out. So even the word don't, can't, or won't, write it out. Would not mind pursuing this career, or could not care less instead of couldn't, can't, or won't. The reason why you want to spell it all out is so that way you're not trying to be too short. Okay, if you have any questions about this, let me know. Make sure you share it with me. Make sure you title it correctly and you go through all the steps.